Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Wat leuk dat je bekijkt. Dankjewel. Do you need a birthday card for a little boy? One that loves cars? Well, the Trucking Along stamp set and the Trucking Along Builder Punch are just great for that. It's a two-step stamp set and stamping it by hand is really easy. Do you want to find out how you can make this cute card yourself? Come and join me. By stamping the trucks and punching them and then putting them on dimensionals, you create this illusion of depth on the card, which I think has a really nice effect. I will show you my original card. Here I had it in landscape and I decided to stamp the trucks, and well, I didn't like it as much as I liked the portrait version and the one with the punched cars and put on dimensionals. There's another advantage: if you punch them and if anything goes wrong with the stamping, then at least you won't have spoiled the entire front of the card, but that's me. I've been experimenting with this stamp set, and this is another one I've made, watercoloured, because it's a really versatile stamp set. I've used the trucks without any further embellishments, but you could use it for a Christmas card. There's some lovely beachy things here, palm trees, there are presents, there are flowers, and these trees too are lovely. And as I said, I use these on my experimental card. I'm not sure about this card. I like it and I don't. I think it's a bit boring, but I wanted to experiment with watercolouring, and as my husband said, that's quite a turn in the road. And he's right, of course, so I'm not sure if I'll use this card or not, but it was an experiment. I do experiment a lot, because if you don't, you never get a nice design, do you? For the background, I've used the Irresistible Blooms dice. I've got the Dutch version. I've used the splatters and the Hooray It's Your Birthday, because I love this font and I think it goes really well with the card. And then I've used the Stylish Shapes dice, this one, for the sentiment label. And another experiment I've been using is trying to make it into a slimline card, and then you could put all these cars on top of that. Then you will need 16 cars, by the way, 16 of these trucks to fill the card. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I just don't know yet. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card. Okay, so I've shown you what I've used, and I'll start with the card base. This is 11 inches by 4 1/8. I've already cut it and I'm going to score this at 5.5. So in centimetres that is 10.5 by 28, and then I'm scoring it at 14. So, scoring, not cutting, Karen, be careful. And first I'm going to stamp on the card base in preparation for it to take the mat later on. Oh, by the way, these are my inks. I'll be using Versamark, Early Espresso, Tahitian Tide, Smoky Slate, Daffodil Delight, Parakeet Party and Sweet Sorbet. And I'll start with stamping onto the card base, and for that I'm using the Irresistible Blooms. As I said, the splatters and Rachel Birthday will come around later when I make the sentiment. First let me put something under my card base, because I'm going to stamp off as well. Well, stamp off, I mean I'm going to stamp next to the card base, and I put some of these splatters in two opposite corners. And that's all. Okay, just clean my stamp. So that's the card base ready for later on. I'll put it over here. I hope I can find it later. Then I'm going to show you how to do the two-step stamping, because you're also going to use the Trucking Along Builder Punch. And with the Builder Punch, you punch all these images in one go. You don't need all of them if you just want the car. So in my case, I prefer to make a strip of cardstock which is just wide enough to take the car to stamp on, and then you can stamp that strip, and it saves a lot of paper, obviously. So you're going to need a strip which is, let me just think, it was 1 3/8 wide. So 1 1/4, 1 3/8. You can stamp on that. I'll slide it into the punch and show you. See, this is just big enough to take the car when you punch it. And then the punching itself, you need the car and you need the second stamp for the two-step stamping process to fill that in. Where's my block? I put it too far away. And there are the wheels as well. I think I'm going to use the Sweet Sorbet. I've made more cars in preparation. See? And I'm going to show you with one how to do this two-step stamping. And you need a total of 2 green, 2 yellow, 2 red and 1 Tahitian tide car. So first I'm going to stamp the outline of the truck car in. Oh, that's my finger in the stamp pad. Great, it's Sunday morning. And you just stamp it onto that piece of cardstock. There you go. And you can of course repeat that over and over. And the length of the strip of cardstock is what determines, the number of cards that you want to stamp determines the length of the cardstock. You can't go much longer than 11, but okay. You get several on. And then the two-step stamping process, because with one more stamp, and I'm looking for the Sweet Sorbet now, with one more stamp you can fill the car entirely, and you just ink up this second stamp, and then you look from above and try to position it right, and you can see through the stamp where the darker outlines are, and then you stamp. Give the ink some time to go into the paper. That's a bit blotchy, but that's because my pad is rather wet. So what I do in that case, with an old card, I just push the ink to the bottom a bit and then clean off my card again, obviously, and then try again. You see, that's the advantage of stamping the trucks and punching them instead of stamping them on your card, because then if anything goes wrong with this process, much better. You see, that one, the pad was rather wet. So it's quite easy to do the stamping. Look carefully. Then for the wheels, same thing. You ink up the stamp, and then you can look from above, and I'm trying to do this without putting my head in the camera, and I look for the hubcaps. If I align the hubcaps, then the tires will follow, and then you stamp. Lovely. See, it's quite easy to do. You could use a stamp positioner, but with this stamp it is so easy to do you don't need one. At least I don't think you do. Then you can punch, and I'm only going to punch the right image now, of course. So looking for where there's an equal edge all around. Let me try it this way. I'm a bit stronger in my right hand to hold the punch. So equal margin all around. Then when you push down on the punch a bit, the paper doesn't move anymore, and then you punch all of it, and I know bits fly everywhere, but okay. And there you have a car. Right, then for the rest of the card you need a mat, a basic white mat, which is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and this looks like the right size, but it's not square, so I'm going to check that. 3 3/4, that's this one, and I'm going to cut off just a piece. And then I'm going to adhere the cars to that mat, and I'll start with a green car. There we have all the cars. So, and I'm using the stamping dimensionals for that. And I'll just try to get a nice arrangement across this mat. So this car goes about, well, halfway on. So I'm putting the dimensionals a bit halfway on, and I'm going to cut up some to make them a bit smaller. Oh, I could use the mini dimensionals as well, couldn't I? Yeah, we've got the small ones as well, because here I want a couple of smaller for them to go onto the card. And then you remove the backing and you can stick it on, and whatever sticks out on the edges you can cut away. So I want it to be sort of in the middle. Well, this is good enough. See, now it's on, and then I can cut away what I don't need. And that is how you fill the rest of that mat. And I don't know, I'll either, well, hello, let me rephrase that. I will either film this and speed it up, or I will do one more car and then stop filming. I never know which you as a viewer prefer. This isn't stamped right, this is a more beautiful stamp. So here, this car, I want the dimensionals to be to the right of that line. So I just look on the mat where it was, and perhaps a small one there. As I was explaining which you prefer, I myself don't object to watching somebody's video and seeing it in a speeded up version, that you can still see the entire process. But there may be people who say, well, just cut to the chase and just show me. Here you see I can go to the end of the cabin and just show me one. I don't know. So let me know which you prefer. Just the entire process speeded up, or just one example and then cutting it. It's the same amount of work while editing. To me it doesn't matter. But as I said, I like it to watch people's speeded up videos. You can still see what's happening, and there's something magical about a speeded up version, at least I think there is. Okay, so, see? And then I've decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the entire process and speed it up, but let me know if you prefer just a cut version. You see, this is ready to go onto the card base. I'm going to use a piece of Seal Plus in the middle and then some liquid glue around it. And I want it to have an equal margin on 3 sides, so the top and the 2 sides to the right and the left. Then I'm going to make the little label, and for that you need a scrap of basic white. Have I got a scrap left somewhere? Well, here, yeah. Okay. I'm going to stamp the sentiment from Irresistible Blooms, and I'm going to use the Versamark and there it is, and the Early Espresso. It makes your sentiment shiny, and I like the extra effect you get. You don't have to, you could just stamp it in only the Early Espresso, but I like the embossed version. So I have Versamark and I have early espresso, and I have the clear stamping embossed powder. And then I'm going to want to stamp a bit towards the right. This is where the label will cut, so I want it to go on the left, so I'm going to stamp a bit towards the right so that I can cut it towards the right. So first I ink up in Versamark, then the darker ink, and that was not stamped right, Karin. Oh dear, but never mind, there is always... Is this dry? I'm putting this underneath. I can use that scrap as two sides to a piece of paper. First I'm cleaning off my stamp now because I don't want the early espresso onto the Versamark, and repeat the process. So stamp, that's much better. Put the powder on top and then heat emboss that. I've run it through my die cut machine off camera, and then I'm going to show you how you can put the ribbon on the back and attach the label to the card. So see, this was the wrong side. I'm using a bit of Seal Plus and then the gingham ribbon. Need about 3 inches. Oh, be careful. 3 inches, she said happily. And I want to slip this at an angle in a better way. Then I'm going to use a cigarette lighter to prevent the edges from fraying, and then you fold it double, see, with the two ends separated a bit, and then you can stick it on. Okay, and again with some dimensionals you can put it onto the card. And the one extra dimensional onto the ribbon also secures the ribbon even better. It will not come loose because of the Seal Plus, which is a strong adhesive of course, but you never know. Alright, oh, this card already has sentiment, Karin, good. Okay, and then you can stick it on. And again, you cut off whatever bits. And just as I was finishing my card, the camera ran out. There's a sort of capacity to the battery. Sorry about that. I was saying you can cut off any bits that stick out and then you have a card finished. And now it is finished. That's it for today. All the details for this project are on my blog and the link is in the description box below. Did you enjoy this video? Then would love for you to like it or subscribe. Leave me a question or a comment. I love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching. Dankjewel voor het kijken and see you next time. Bye bye, tot ziens.